Subject 3, fair condition.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our 11th Demo Day event. My name is Jada Ferguson. I am currently the Communications Officer for the community. Also on this call with me is our co-founder, O'Shane Bailey. So for those of you guys who don't know, Demo Day aims to create a space for developers and digital professionals to share their work with their peers. We aim to encourage more persons to spend time honing their craft and culture, a space for potential investors or employers to identify their talent. I must say that Demo Day is only one of several event series organized by the Jamaican developers community. So, for those of you guys who don't know what the community is, we are a community of creative thinkers, thought leaders, and innovators who love to work together to solve common problems. We are transforming the Caribbean community from a consumer to a producer of technology. This evening's event is proudly sponsored by OSIB Limited, Vertis Technology Solutions Limited, and Particular Presence Technologies Limited. Today, our speaker is Jason Clarke. And just to tell you guys a little bit about Jason, in case you did not read the flyer, Jason is a software engineer with a demonstrated history of using modern technologies to solve complex issues. He specializes in front-end development with an emphasis on the Jamstack architecture. He's passionate about UX/UI and develops digital experiences following human-centered design to engage users and drive business growth. So I hope that everyone here is super excited for Jason's presentation. His presentation is the customizable school management system. And I hope you guys are just as excited as I am to see all about this system. And we hope that you all can learn something for it. So while we are waiting, I would suppose for more persons to show up, just sit back and relax and get ready for the incredible presentation that I know Jason has in store for us today.
I'm going to share my screen. All right, screen is being shared. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Clarke. As said before, I'm a software engineer based in Jamaica. And today I'll be demoing a school management system that I created. But before I get into the website that I developed, I'd like to give a little backstory on why I developed this solution. So 3 years ago, in June, I was contacted by the Herbert Morrison Technical High School, and I was able to develop a software solution for them through the form of a website, actually. Now, after developing this website, I became their website maintenance coordinator. And to this day, I still manage their website. And a question came to mind. What can I do to create to create an optimum solution? This cannot be moved. To create an optimum solution for schools in Jamaica. Schools within the Caribbean context, thinking larger than Jamaica. So I put time into researching part-time. And what I did was I take analytics from this website, and I've read certain researches, international researches, the majority of them, and the components and different designs that make school websites successful. And having done this for a long period of time, this is the solution to the question that I had all that time ago. How can I create the optimum solution for schools in Jamaica? This is the website. Currently it's called Jamaican Demo High School. And below it, it has our motto, out of everyone people. So the design is a modern design, and a lot of psychology is behind this design, from the spacing of the elements to how the website is organized. So scrolling down, we have certain micro interactions, which you've just seen. the cards just faded up. And that provides interactivity to the website. Now, scrolling down some more, you'll see an About Us section that gives a general overview of what the school will offer and a link so that persons can find out more about the school. To the side, you'll have an image of the school just to provide visual stimulation. Now, if you're wondering about the text, you should know that this is not English, this is actually Latin, and it's called Lorem Ipsum. Since I did not have any actual text to put here per se, I decided to generate text in Latin. Now, having scrolled past the About Us, you'll see the school's mission statement. And the mission statements give a general overview of what the school is about, what do they seem to achieve, and how do they want to help the students long term. Now, having passed the mission statement, you'll be taken to the school news. And the school news provides the relevant information on the happenings of the school. The date is provided, the title and the information. Now, if you'd like to read more, let's say you want to learn more about back to school, you can always press view more and it takes you to a dedicated page with all the information presented in an easy format that's simple. And this is also in a swiper, which makes it interactive. When I first brought it into the view, you saw that it faded up. So interactivity was an element that I decided to focus on for the creation of this website. Scrolling down, you'll see some additional information on the school, such as the amount of staff members that the school has, the average class size, the student population, and the amount of extracurricular activities that the school offers. Following that, you are taken to the Contact Us section, which provides the necessary links for you to email the school, to call the school, or visit one of the many social media platforms that the school has. Currently, this template uses Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, which from research are the top 3 platforms that schools are on. You also have a link to locate the school on a map. So when you click this link, it takes you to the Google map. But in case you don't want to click the link and be redirected off the page, below it is a Google map that's embedded. It's interactive, you can interact with it. If you're wondering where a school is, for example, I'm using the Herbert Mercer Technical High, you can zoom in to see the location, the street that it may be on, the general location of where it is. You can toggle the topographical views, all of that from this website. And below it, you have the footer section, which has the necessary school links, government links, contact information, and social media links. Now, breaking down the pages, the About page. This contains the history of the school, the mission statement as mentioned before, the principal's message, which is a general message that the principal may give to address those who visit the website and those who are in tune to the school's proceedings. The information, as said before, additional information, and what the school is known for, their academic excellence, qualified teachers, modern facilities, clubs, and sports, followed by the footer. Moving on to the school news, this section has already been explained. You have the swiper that shows the school news. It's interactive, meaning that you can navigate through it. And when you want more information, you can always click view more. And you are taken to a dedicated page that has the information for that specific news. And if you just saw, it had an animation a while ago, which was quite nice. Now, events is an area that I understand is quite important because it provides an easy to understand and quick means for students, parents, or even staff to see the school timeline and what's supposed to be happening. Now, for this example, I only have 2 events, which is the reopening of school and the start of exams. Now, just to refresh the page, when you scroll down, you'll see that each event has an animation. It comes from the right and scrolls to the left. And when you hover over the event, you have micro animations within the timeline. Now, this is just emphasizing on the micro interactivity that was put into the site. And then followed by the footer, which is the end of the website. Now, moving on is a page that has been proven to be one of the most important pages. The contents of this page are downloadable documents, extracurricular activities, and the ability to view grades online. Now, downloadable documents, if I click on it, you get a list of documents that can be downloadable. Now, on the Herbert Morrissey Technical High, I've integrated something similar. It has the same feature. And aside from the downloadable documents, we have our students have the ability to download their curricula. So no longer do they have to wait on teachers to come in class to get the topics, what they would be studying. They can simply go to the website and download the curricula. And if they are fast learners, they can view through to see and learn the topics that will be taught in order to have a holistic understanding of what they will be doing at their grade point. And this says download or notice for face-to-face during January. If you click it, it takes you to the document, and from here, this document can be downloaded to your local device. Now, moving on, you have a list of the extracurricular activities that the school may offer. So when you click that, you'll get clubs and sports. Scrolling down, you'll notice that you have the clubs, the sports in a card format. Now, if the club or sport has a logo for themselves, the logo of the institution which you are currently seeing can be easily replaced to show the logo of that club or sport. Now, these cards are also interactive. When you hover over them, you get additional information which is on the back of the card. This which I'm hovering over is the 4-H club, and the additional information which is given is that the 4-H club meets on Wednesdays, and this is for each club and each sport. All of these cards are interactive and they provide quality information to students who may be interested in finding out which clubs are available to them and when do they meet, so that they can then find or make the necessary steps to join that club. And for this example, we have quite an exhausted list of the amount of clubs that can be added to the website or that a school offers. Moving on, we have the ability to view grades online. And this is actually a link to a third-party application or website. If a school wants to integrate it into this website, they also have the ability to do that. And this link is also in the header. For the sake of this example, I use My School Jamaica. So when you click on that link, you are brought to this interface. And from here, you can log in to your account to view your information on how you're performing in school. So this website integrates quite easily with LMS solutions, which LMS stands for Learning Management Solutions. Now, moving on, you are brought to the contact page. And the contact page has the necessary contact information, the ability to email the school from the website, the ability to call the school from the website, to visit their social media platforms, or to link to the school's location on a Google map. The map is also present. So when I began this interview, I stated that this website was made with UX UI in mind. And several UX UI principles are in fact at work. And if I began talking about them, I probably would take up the entirety of this demonstration. But this website is quite adaptable. And one way that I'm going to show the adaptability of this website is by stating that regardless of color, a school's color theme, this website adjusts and to fit and works in hand with the colors that are provided to still be an effective solution. And many websites, if colors are changed, you may notice that they are not as effective as they once were with a specific color. For example, if the color of a website A is changed from orange to purple, the effectiveness of the website reduces drastically. And that has to do with color theory and the emotions that colors may bring out. But I paid attention to that when developing this website. And I developed the components in such a way that regardless of color, it will still convey what is supposed to be conveyed effectively. And examples that I am going to give are burgundy and cream. Now, burgundy and cream is a color scheme used by several Jamaican schools. Herbert Morrison is just one of them. There are several that I can name off the top of my head. Now, as you can see, if I scroll down, it interacts the same, and the beauty of the website is not compromised. The way that the information is displayed is not compromised. The feelings and emotions that you are getting from this website is not compromised in any way. You will still view this as a quality website, regardless of the color. And I've tested this theory on several color schemes across Jamaican schools. So, and what I found is that regardless of the colors that are used in the website, the effects are still the same. It's still a quality website. And if I change the color to gold and green or yellow and green, it is still an effective solution. And if you are wondering, but which school uses this color scheme? You have Excelsior High and Excelsior Community College. They use a color scheme similar to this one. And if you just skip the page and you want to view the interactions, you'll see that the yellow and green, they still come together to form a holistic solution that will benefit the students. So this isn't a website that is solely reliant on one color scheme to be effective. It adapts to the given color scheme. And this is just in tune to the dynamic nature of the website and the dynamic nature of schools in Jamaica. Not all schools in Jamaica are the same. They are different, they are unique, and they have specific needs and specific requirements and traits that make them unique within the country. Now, that was just a bit on the design. Moving on to the next point that I have to make is a point on performance. This website is a highly performant website because I optimized it to be so. Now, I'm not sure if it's showing on my screen, but the Zoom navigation was blocking or is blocking the website. Okay, this should be all right now. And what I'm going to do to show you that the website is performant is I'm going to run a Lighthouse test in real time. So I'm just refreshing the website to make sure that this is a true result. And from the extensions right here, I'll be generating a report. And the criteria for the report is I'm testing the performance, the accessibility, the best practices, the search engine optimization, and whether this website is an installable progressive web app. I'll talk more about the PWA feature later on. And we're testing it on a desktop device, as currently this is on a desktop device. So generating report. And for those who do not know what Lighthouse is a Google service that allows persons to run performance tests on their websites to see how their websites can be further improved and built upon. It's a necessary tool, and it's one that every developer should have in their skill set when testing the performance of their website to ensure that clients are getting the best solutions possible. Now, currently on the screen, you are seeing the results. We have a 94% performance rate, a 97% accessibility rate. We are following all the best practices on this website, and this website is 100% search engine optimized, meaning if you place it on a search engine such as Google, Bing, or even Yahoo, this website will perform extraordinarily well. Now, moving down to the results of this website, you can see that the issue is the largest contentful paint. However, due to the development, that's not really a major issue in this website. It's just something that Google is noting might affect some users. However, as you see, the speed index is 1.3 seconds and the LCP, which is the largest contentful paint, is 1.3 seconds as well. Now, Google states that if a website loads less than or after 3.5 seconds, that is when users begin to be affected, meaning after 3.5 seconds and the website is not ready, users begin to leave the website. I'm just messing up my tenses, but that's okay. And as you see, this website loads in 1.3 seconds, which is less than half of the recommended speed that websites should load in. So quite frankly, it's an effective solution. Moving on to the accessibility, the error that you are seeing here is not really an error that should even come up. The issue is that Google is indexing the website at a speed that is faster than which certain animations may take to load. Is someone on the mic as well? Okay. So it says the contrast ratio, and that's because during the animations that you saw on the website, the opacity starts at 0 and then it loads to 1. The animations are a little slower than what Google would like. However, at 0.5 seconds is still effective, and it still plays into the psychology that I'm trying to achieve, the quality, because with certain things, slower animations are indeed perceived to be more quality than faster animations. If an animation is too fast, how is the user supposed to be able to judge how the interaction or the overall interaction is? Now, as I stated before, this website has 100% for best practices. This website follows all the best practices, and the website is 100% search engine optimized. And I explained that this means that if it's put on a search engine such as Google, Bing, or Yahoo, it will perform extraordinarily well. Now, moving on to the next point, this website is an installable PWA. And that's a point that I will be breaking down later on. Now, these are important aspects, and these are important things that should be taken into consideration when developing a website. And I'll also come back to this point because I have another point that I'd like to make, which is tied into the performance of this website. And this point is on the technologies that was used to develop this website. Now, this couldn't be a development get-together, a meeting full of developers, and we do not talk about the technologies that were used to develop this website. So currently I have VS Code opened, and I'm just going to start the development server of the website to show, in fact, that the website is running from this code, which is local, on my local device. So this shouldn't take too long. It uses Vite as the build tool, so it's quite fast. And as you can see, the website is up. It's running from VS Code. Now, a general overview of the technologies used to develop this website are Vue and TypeScript. Now, TypeScript was used for the typings and its ability to prevent typing errors. As you can see, I believe that I do have a function, composable, opened up in VS Code, and basically it's a simple function that takes a date and converts it to a string in the format that I want it to be. Now, as for Vue, why Vue was used, it's simple. Vue is an outstanding framework, and I have a lot of experience in Vue from working with Generate 3D. My current frameworks, or the frameworks that I typically use, are React and Vue.js. Now, the reason why I chose Vue.js for this is because if I had to integrate React with TypeScript and develop this solution, it might have taken longer, and I just prefer the development with Vue.js. Now, if you're a Vue.js developer, you may be wondering, if this website is truly developed in Vue.js, as you can see by the app.view, which is right here, how is it so performant? Now, if you're not familiar with the performance of average Vue.js websites, and I'll just be moving this Zoom taskbar. I'm not sure if I could actually close it because it's taking up quite some space. I'm moving it. So if you don't see it appear on the screen, that's what I've just done. Wrong click. Moving back to performance. Yes, if you're not familiar with Vue.js, you may be asking, how is the website so performant? Because I'm not saying that inherently the technologies used may make a website less performant, but generally, these scores are well above average. Now, for the average Vue site, and I'm going to use two examples. Hello Insight, which is an organization that helps youth develop. They help young people continuously respond to what's needed in their day-to-day lives. It's a great organization. They do amazing work. And if you have time, please check them out. And aside from Hello Insight, I'm also comparing the scores of EasyShip, which is a company that helps businesses find the best shipping solution for them. As you see right here, it's a powerful shipping software, and they have the prompts that it helps businesses to achieve. Now for Hello Insight, I ran the Lighthouse test prior in order to just save some time on this demonstration. And you can see that the performance is in the mid-range, if I do say so. Performance is at 58%, accessibility 83, best practices 83, SEO at 73. Now for EasyShip, when we view the performance, you'll see that it's also in the mid-range with the only exception being best practices, which is perfect. This website follows the best practices which are outlined by Google. Their performance, however, is subpar at 68, the accessibility are reversed at 86, and their SEO at 83. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because many companies have individuals whose sole responsibility is to optimize these topics, to optimize these headings, to ensure that the best standards are met. Because in certain countries, if a website is subpar in accessibility or performance, let's start with accessibility. If a website is not optimized for accessibility, a company can get a lawsuit and be fined thousands of dollars, especially if that company is in the EU. For performance, if a website is not fully performant, it simply means that there's a loss of business. Because I noted before that if a website takes an extended time to load, persons leave the website. They don't go on it. So a website that's not performant is really leading to a loss for the business. And these are average scores, what you may get from Vue.js, which was the original point. And just to explain how this website is so performant is that within Vue.js, the ecosystem, I've created somewhat, you'd call it a meta framework. So there are specific tools that I've developed that focus on these points. So it automates a lot of these things, and it automates these processes that we get the best scores that can possibly be gotten. Now, as a Vue developer, if you even looked into the code base, you'll see that the setup for the website is not a usual setup. This is the app.view file in its entirety. Let me just expand the SCSS and scroll all the way down. This is not typical. This is something that you'd see in, let's say, a Nuxt website. This is not the typical layout. However, this website does not use Nuxt, as you can see through the plain integration of TypeScript. Nuxt 2 doesn't use TypeScript, where the integration is not so holistic. So this is a view through website. It doesn't use Nux 3 because Nux 3 is currently at a release candidate. This is a view website. And this comes into what I was saying before. I created a meta framework to automate many things, such as the importation of the routes. So quite frankly, developing in this ecosystem is quite fast and is quite effective. Now that I've given a basic tech overview, another point that I'd like to focus on is that this website is a progressive web app, PWA, and I mentioned that before. So I'll just be closing the IDE and opening up this website as the link. And the screen might shift again because I'm in a current battle with this toolbar from Zoom. So moving it all the way to the right and then shifting back to the tech breakdown. Currently, I'm on the website. And PWA, what exactly is a PWA? A PWA is a progressive web app. It is a website that can be downloaded on devices as an application. And for this example, to demonstrate this feature, I'm just going to show you that it can be installed on a wide array of devices, starting with a cellular phone. Currently, I have my phone up at this moment, and I am sharing it through an application. Now, this is my phone, so if I scroll down, you'll see that it is updated in real time. This is my phone. It's a one-to-one simulation. I'm mirroring the screen. Now, if I locate this website on, let's say, Google Chrome, and refresh just for the sake that to show that this is in real time. After a specific amount of time, I will get a notification towards the bottom of the screen right here to say that this website is installable. However, I'm not going to wait for that notification to come up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to install it manually for the sake of time. So if I press the menu button and scroll all the way down, you'll see that you have the option to install the app. And if I press install twice, I get a notification that the website or that Chrome is currently adding the high school. And then I get a notification from Google Play Store that the website is being added. And after some time, I get the notification that this website has been added to the home screen. Now, scrolling off and going, you'll notice that this website was just added here. I'm not sure if I scrolled to this page to show beforehand that this application was not here, but this is a new application. This is a new instance. And if I do click it, it loads the website as a native application, as if you downloaded it on Google Play. And this website, this PWA, or this application, it functions like a native app. And from here, you can do several things. I just press the phone button to call the school. But as you can see, it integrates well with the devices, and you can navigate throughout the pages. Everything that is done on the website, you can do it on the app, which has been installed. I know that you've seen that this functions like a native app, even getting its own, what you would call this? It's appearing as a native app in this selections, in these menus. And you can do certain things such as split view or even pop-up. You can even lock the app if you so wish to. And just coming off this, I'll show you that it can even be installed on a laptop device. Now, refreshing the page as per usual for my demonstrations, you'll see this icon that says install the application. You press install and it has been installed in record speed quite quickly. And if you, let's say, exit off, and let's do that twice, you see that there's a new icon on my screen, high school. And this is the website. So if I double click, it opens up the website as an application on your desktop device. And it even gets its own icon in the taskbar that can be pinned just as a native app. So if you want to view the website, easy access, you can always pin it and open it. Moving on to my last point is that this website has been in development for about 2 years. And I'm just moving the taskbar of Zoom. So that's why there was a disruption. So having completed the development of Herbert Morris Technical High School's website, I started thinking about developing this website. And for some reason, let me just refresh this page. Yes, it's all right now. And within 2 years of research, within 2 years of implications, I've been through a lot of data, over 18,000 users, 65,000 pages served, page views. So quite frankly, there was a lot of data to go through when developing this solution. So I believe it would have been a little ludicrous if I only came here to say that within the time that I spent researching this, I was only able to create one website, that the data only pointed to a single solution. That is not so. In fact, I have 18 different variations of this website. All of them have been tried and tested, and they are as effective as the one that I demoed this evening. So you have a variation list right here: website 1, website 2, website 3. And these are just the first 9 variations. I have a variation 2 list that has more updates. And I won't be going through all of these websites today, but I'll just be highlighting some of the variations that are present. So from, I can either X these are, so from variation 1, website 1, variation 1, website 2, let's go with variation 3, and website 3, why not variation 2? So website 1, variation 1, if I'm correct, you can see that this is a new design. Certain elements have changed. The header for sure has changed. If you hover over the icons, you'll see that you have a drop down. It's more in tune. It pinpoints more to what persons may want if they want information just off the bat. So if they want quick access to an information, let's say you go to the school websites, you want to know about the school and you want to know the school's history, you can just go there and click this menu. It gives you the information. Admission, you have the elements. And just scrolling down a little, you'll see that this section is different. It's quite effective in what it portrays and what it perceives and how it's perceived. You have your about the school, learn more, and a general mission, the school's mission. Now moving to the variation 2, as you can see here again is a new design, a more modern design, if I do say so myself, as it uses a transparent header, which is not often seen. However, it's quite effective and it's well received in the community. So scrolling down again, you'll see that this one takes the card approach, which I did highlight in this demonstration earlier for the main website that I presented, and not scrolling down too far. And then this is more in tune to the website that I displayed or presented, the primary website that I presented on earlier. As you can see, it as well has the different changes, the different aspects that make it unique. Scrolling down, you'll notice that unlike the website I presented, it doesn't have a section that shows the 4 main points. It goes straight into the about, and this about is different than the ones that have been showed before. And all of that is to say that this is a solution that I'm proud of creating. It's quite the effective solution, and I'm glad that I was able to demo it to the community. And this will be the end of my presentation. Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Jason, for that presentation. I was very intrigued by it. It really opened up my eyes about a lot of things. Does anybody have any questions? Now is the time to ask questions.
Okay. I'll go first. So what I generally see, well, a couple questions, but I'll start off with functionality wise. So I realized that there's a lot of static pages and it's really fast. But is there like an admin portal where the schools can update, or is it just
Yes,
pure
there is.
on? Okay.
It's not a static website at all. It's fully dynamic.
Okay, noted. Do you mind showing a bit of like the backing of that?
CMS solution, headless CMS.
Oh, okay. So would the schools have access to make update, or they would have to contact you?
The school would have access to make the updates.
Okay, all right, noted. The other thing, yeah, I do, well, this is more towards comment. I do really love the speed and the performance and the fact that you made it PWA. But a quick question for Windows, why you went with creating a PWA for the school? Was it a part of the requirement, or something that you added as a nice to have?
Something that I added as a nice to have. And it also eliminates the school having to manage both an application and a website. Now they can manage the information from a centralized platform.
Yeah, I do reckon that. The other technology, regarding technology, remind me of the technologies that you said you built it in.
Vue and TypeScript.
Vue and TypeScript. All right. Are there anyone with any other question? Checking the chat. You can unmute or type your question in the chat. All right. In terms of server, is it also like on Firebase, or what you're using for server?
Well, this website is effective on any Jamstack hosting solution, and it uses a Jamstack architecture as well.
Okay, all right.
I'm a Jamstack developer at heart, so I always go with the Jamstack. Always bet on the Jamstack.
Okay, all right, no problem. All right. In terms of like the next step for this, from the technical side, what's the next step? Are there any additional feature that you're planning to have? And apart from that, from the business side, or having more schools, what's your plan?
Okay, from the technological aspect, something that I was wondering or pondering on is if I should make this website into, let's say, currently it's a pre-rendered SPA. I was wondering if I should just transition it to a server-side rendered website. But quite frankly, when I compare the benefits of each, it might be better to stick with how it is, because pre-rendering gets all the benefits of the server-side rendering and is still effective, and the SEO is still up and optimized. So there might not be a necessary need to take on that extra hassle.
Okay. I do agree. Not to mention server-side rendering might add reduce the performance of the website if there's additional steps needed. So I do think pre-rendered, you should stick to that. Ryan asks, what are some security consideration that have been taken while developing this, or the final product?
Okay, so I focus on the Jamstack architecture, which means that there's basically the only breach to this website is if an admin on the school gives out the credentials. On the front end, there's no chance of any breach being taken place. It's a Jamstack website. One of the main points of Jamstack is the security. The website is being hosted from a CDN, and the files have already been generated on that CDN. So quite frankly, even though this is a dynamic website, the pages are dynamic. That's because it's taking the information from the CMS solution. However, the files itself have already been generated. So you can't hack the files. And since it's on the Jamstack, SSL certificates and TSL certificates are provisioned. So there are few ways that this website can be breached. The only point that this website can be breached is from the CMS. And the only way that this website will be breached from the CMS is if an admin at the school finds a way to leak the credentials. Now, if a school can keep the credentials safe, this website is one of the most, if not the most secure solutions a school can have and invest in.
Noted. Go ahead.
I also have a question.
When you guys finish.
Can I talk or who's gonna head?
You can go ahead.
So Jason, in terms, I see where this is aimed towards the user interface, the user experience. So I see where you have a template here, a general home about us. I'm thinking a more basic. Let's not use basic, but familiar scrolling transitions and all that. But say for example, I want a specific website. How is there a template or is how, like for example, I want a website that looks or performs a specific way, certain animation. How would you go about using a technology? How would that be integrated into me building my website? That certain feeling, or is it just a template that we can use?
No, it's a template at heart, but let's say you'd want to remove animations or add an animation.
For example, I want slide scrolling, for example, or I want like an image that moves, or animation like those. How, for example, how would that be integrated in what you have here? Or is this just that it's just the simple template?
Well, when you begin talking about side scrolling, I'm thinking that you're trying to explain scrolling on the x-axis. Now, that is not a recommended thing that you do for school websites for several reasons. And the data that I've gathered backs up that scrolling on this axis, which is scrolling this way instead of scrolling this way on the horizon, is the best way, because when you scroll in that particular way, you're scrolling horizontally. Let me see if I could even give an example.
I understand all of that, man. It's just that
it's not performance. It wouldn't be viable for schools.
All right.
No, I understand all that. That was just an arbitrary feature. But in general, like for example, I want my website to behave a certain way, or I want certain animations or certain. Is it that I would only have to work with the templates that you provide here, or
if you want a certain animation, it can be simply added.
Okay.
Okay. So going into a bit of what Alex is actually asking,
Okay.
he's pretty much asking what the rest as a school admin on the back end whatsoever, what's the level of customization that is there? Is it that it's modular to choose what to show, what all certain behavior should under, or is it that they are pre-built like templates, effects, animation, and so forth, and if there's anything else of like something custom, you would have to reach out to you. What's the level of customization?
Yeah, because the limitation I'm seeing here is that I would want my website, even though we have a school and we know that the schools will follow a certain template or a certain feature and how the website is set up. I wouldn't necessarily want my school to feel like, for example, Carnwell or Herbert Morrison, for argument's sake. You understand? Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, like, with your system you have here, how different would these different? Like me as an admin at the school, building the website using your technology, how different could I get my website to look and feel from a user experience? Because at the same time, while the backend thing and all that is important, we also want to ensure that what the end user is seeing is also a unique experience. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just understand how you tackle that with what you have here.
And I tackle that with the variations. There are 18 different variations of this website. Now, speaking on the user experience and providing drastically different user experiences, that's something.
Jason, I want to say something. Ask something. Go ahead.
Okay. that's something that it sounds better saying it than putting it into practice. Now, there are certain rules of UX and UI, which governs how websites operate online and how interactivity should be across the general website platform. Now, websites are expected to operate a certain way. Now, you can have customizations, but the overall user experience shouldn't be too far apart from each other, because then that takes into question several things. Because what you may view as a great interaction to add might not be what the client or what the end users would enjoy. For example, and let's see if I could use this website as a better example. Let's say when you scroll down to the school news section, you're on here, you want to add, let's say, a feature that when you hover the date expands. That's a customization, but is that something that is really wanted? Is that something that is really warranted? If this date expands, you see the limitation of space that's right here. It would lead to the entire card being expanded. And if one card is expanded, it throws off the design, it throws off the UI of the card, because only that element would be highlighted in that specific way. Now, if there are certain customizations that you'd want, let's say you want an extra page or you want a page to look different, that can be added. But the user experience, the core of how the user interprets a sign, this template is based on data that has been gathered. Tests have been run that make sure that this is the optimum solution. And the solutions like this are the optimum solution. If it's a case where you want something completely drastic, I cannot ensure that that feature or that component that you'd like to be developed will be a success with the end users of the website.
All right, can I ask something here?
Sure.
I am CC from the group, by the way. That's my WhatsApp handle. Very nice website, clean layout, and also see using iframe. But there are several cross-platforming issues that have been, in just looking at it, I noticed your frames, there has no title elements, which is not really the thing, but most thing is your Firefox. And compatibility. The MS Touch action that is used in your apps, Firefox, Android, Safari doesn't support that, right?
Oh, yes.
So that might be an issue.
Yes,
right?
PWA.
Character sets should be UTF-8, right? That's the standard out there, no? The scroll bar behavior will not work in certain Safaris and iOS and so forth, because you have it set to smooth now, right?
Yes, it's smooth.
The scroll bar width is also Chrome and Android, and so it might have a problem at times to process it because you actually have none.
Okay, so
you're not controlling the scroll bar width at all, right?
Yeah. Now, something that you're making points. The points that you're making is with the interpretation of the website on individual, let's say, browsers, such as on Safari. Now,
that's compatibility across platforms.
Compatibility across platforms, yes.
Which
so I didn't set this
as a programmer, right? Because you can't decide which platform they're going to use to view your website. They're in each variation that you have, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Right. So
now
that's just a couple of points. Go ahead.
And I thank you for those points. And something that I'd like to highlight. I guess this was one of your last points when you mentioned the scroll bar width not being set. I did not alter any stylings for the scroll bar. The scroll bar is using the default scroll bar for the browsers. Many of these low-level technologies or low-level things that you're seeing, such as the scroll bar, it defaults to the browser's choice of how they would want the scroll bar to be perceived and used. And that comes on to experience as well. If you are, let's say, on Safari, and Safari has a scroll bar a specific way, you are used to that scroll bar being that certain way. So why is it that I should impose a standard that you are not used to by creating a custom scroll bar? And more or less, the scroll bar is the least of your concern when developing a solution such as this. So thank you for your feedback again. And there are definitely points that I should take into consideration.
Also, why such a heavy reliance on your Google platform? If you look at the elementary storage, you're pointing to calendar, you're pointing to all of these things on Google, these services on Google. Is there a
Yes.
specific reason you have done that?
Well, it's quite simple. Coming back from the research, the majority of students, the majority of people in general who use school websites operate from Chrome. And that's data analytics that I could pull up. Wait, I can't pull it up. That might be an NDA issue, but that's a fact. The majority of people who access the websites access from Chrome. Now, if they're accessing from Chrome, and I'm talking within the 90s, it's a solid 90% for Herbert Morrison. If they are accessing it from Chrome, they are already in the Google ecosystem. So this solution, it caters to the many and not the few. If the majority of your users are doing something, do not develop a solution for a small minority. It will not be successful.
But then you have tied basically your storage and functionality to Google services.
And that is an issue because?
Well, that's, as you know, it's a cloud platform change of, unless you have a agreement with them in regard to the services and or if the webhooks, if you want to call it, then have opened your website to defunction in case of their changes, which happened in G Suite, which happened with a lot of apps in G Suite and Chrome of recent. So they changed the webhooks, they changed the functionality, and it's an open source. So if you're not developed or tied to them in that way for this functionality, then that might become an issue for you down the road if they do change the webhooks.
Okay, so I'm going to just jump
It's
in
great
here.
work. I like it. I like where you're heading.
Okay, so
Thank you.
based on your comment, I just want to add, so yes, code, regardless of whichever code system that he would use, he would still face some issues like that. For example, AWS, a lot of AWS cloud functions tend to change very often. So of course, with any system, you building it is just the first step. Maintenance is where the real work comes in, and keeping up to date with the technology, the security rules, all of the dependency updates and so forth. So I don't see it as a major concern. It's just one of those typical things that developers would have to keep abreast with and just update based on whatever changes that are going to be deprecated or so forth. So with that said, we are going to close off. We are actually over the time. I posted the community chat link in the chat. So if you're not a part of the community, you can go ahead and click that link and join our Telegram community. If there's any further question regarding Jason's school management system, you can reach out to him through the community or on the forum. You will get notified. The forum, I'll type the link for the forum, but it's community.jamaican.dev. And with that said, Jada, are there any announcements other announcement that we need to make?
The only announcement is that please feel free to join the community, as Oshin said. The information is in the chat, so you can email us at community@caribbean.dev or reach out to us on our various social media handles, LinkedIn at Jamaica Developers Community, Facebook at Jamaica Developers Community, or Instagram at JamDevCo. Also, we're always looking for new volunteers, so you can also join us there. And lastly, the next event that we do have coming up is Career Day number 13, which is on blockchain development. And its event is to be held on the, let me just get the date for you correctly. It's going to be held on the 20th of September. So we're looking forward to everyone coming out to that. And it's at the same time with a different link, of course, because it's a Careers Day, 6 p.m. on the 20th of September. Please look out for our Careers Day, and the topic is blockchain development. More information will be spread closer to the date.
Okay, thank you very much. One more thing, I will post a link for the YouTube recording. Andrew asked, this was actually being live streamed to our YouTube channel. So I'll post the link in the chat as well as the community chat. But before we end, any closing remarks from you, Jason?
No closing remarks. Just glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to present.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to post the link in the chat now. So I sent the link for the YouTube live stream. So you can share it, take a watch if you missed anything. But that's it for now. Take care and see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
All right, goodbye.
Yeah, man, take care.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.